Good afternoon and welcome. My name's John Miller from Delta SaaS Services, and a very warm welcome to this Smarter Sales and Marketing webinar series. I'm joined today by Chris Studley, who's Chief Digital Officer at Delta SaaS Services. And we're going to try and make this webinar both informal and quite interactive. So let's start by looking at the overall series. This is the third in the series. The first topic was really about digital asset management and how we need to make digital content really relevant. A couple of weeks ago we looked in some detail at SaaS websites and interactive media and how they could be used. Today we're going to focus almost entirely around sales and marketing platforms, and with some examples of customer engagement applications. So Chris and I are going to kind of talk through it together. Chris will be showing you the digital assets, and I'll be discussing with him and hopefully with you as well how that can be used in today's environment to drive smarter sales and marketing engagement. Next week, in fact, we've got a guest speaker, Rick Chapman, who's the CEO of SoftLetter, where we're going through the very latest sales and marketing key metrics, business metrics for SaaS and cloud businesses. This is actually based on the 8th annual financial handbook for SaaS companies. And the final one this year in our series is on digital sales transformation, the latest techniques and tools. We'll touch on some of those today, and that will be presented by Mark Sweetco, who's the CEO of Zita. A little bit of background about Delta. We've been around for 20+ years, really, in sales, marketing, business development with IT vendors, software vendors. Started out looking really a lot at channels and the transformation and blend of indirect channels and direct channels, but for the last probably more like 7 or 8 years now we've been focused on assisting companies who are making that transition from being on-premise to SaaS or cloud-based businesses, and also helping SaaS startups, people born in the cloud, to expand and grow their business. So in terms of just a very brief executive summary around this series based on smarter sales and marketing, 2 key things that we're seeing both in our consulting work and in the stats and metrics we're seeing from some of the reports like the financial handbook is it's really important to know where you are today in terms of your cost of customer acquisition, cost of sales, and what are your times to market, what is the customer journey like. Obviously, if you want to implement smarter sales and marketing, it's very important to know those metrics today so that you can really see the impact and measure the benefit of smarter sales and marketing. People also say, well, you know, this type of smarter sales and marketing, which we'll define in some more detail, is really only applicable to a SaaS-based company, for example. You know, inside sales can't apply to an on-premise company. Some of these digital sales techniques we're going to show you won't apply because we're a hybrid company. I think far from it, we're seeing that some of the greatest benefits of smarter sales and marketing and the use of SaaS and cloud-based techniques are actually for companies who are still in a transition, who are still selling higher value enterprise type projects. And we also believe that the smarter sales and marketing approach applies end to end right throughout marketing, through customer support, upgrades, updates. We're still seeing islands of automation. You know, people will implement a marketing automation system, and there's some very fine ones out there, but it's not totally integrated in a digital sense with what happens downstream or upstream with product marketing. And another footnote on this as well, smarter sales and marketing applies whether you have a direct sales force and or channels. And towards the end of today's presentation, we're going to be showing you how to start with some bite-sized pieces. Of course, it's important to have a strategy and a structure to your digital transformation, your progression towards smarter sales and marketing, but we also need to be very practical and very pragmatic. So we're going to share with you some simple examples of where an individual sales manager or marketing manager for a very small amount of money can start to use some digital platforms and tools literally in the next few weeks. So with that, I think it goes without saying these are some of the reasons why we need it. We've talked about cloud and SaaS redefining the end-to-end business rules. I've got a chart in a minute which confirms yet again that there are new ways that customers are evaluating, buying and using IT. Certainly smarter sales and marketing is needed because you will probably be seeing any number of new competitors coming into the market. We've seen this recently in a project we're working on, that they may start in tier 2 markets, but very quickly they're moving into some of perhaps your larger customers and your larger accounts. And we also know that companies making the transition, it's a lot to do with not just an annual recurring revenue model, but the cash flow impact and being able to measure much better the return on investment that you get. And these digital tools and smarter sales and marketing are built around that. I'm sure we've seen this before, and we're going to have some updated numbers, as I say, next week, not just about the overall cloud and SaaS market, but how some of the leading companies are performing, be they born in the cloud or enterprise type companies. But you'll see the text in red here. I think it's now accepted that the majority of a customer journey is digital. So, they will be doing the homework, profiling, shortlisting, using the web, using online apps. And the irony, as far as we're concerned, is working with many sales forces around the world, they are still using what we call analog techniques, very field sales based, very into face-to-face interactions. And of course there is a place for that, but increasingly we're seeing the need to use and adopt digital sales techniques and the use of digital sales platforms, which is what today is all about. So here are 10 areas where we think you can reduce your costs of customer acquisition and improve your times to market. I'm not going to go through them all in detail, but this series has addressed many of those points, and I think it is a very reasonable objective for you in terms of defining smarter sales and marketing to come up and look at, for example, your cost of sales as a percentage of revenue, to drive it down incrementally by significant amounts, and also to re-engineer your entire sales and marketing engagement cycle so that you can reduce not just the time you can reduce the time to sale, and you can sell more in a shorter period of time. So enough background from me. What I want to do now was bring Chris in and to show you some practical examples of what a digital sales platform would look like. So good afternoon, Chris. Over to you. We can now see your screen. Thank you.
Perfect. And thank you, John. So in the last few webinars, we have talked about websites, platforms, portals, and digital asset transformation, where we can help convert existing digital assets like PowerPoints into interactive videos and spreadsheets to online apps. So today I want to pull all those things together into some context. So, building sales and marketing platforms. Sales and marketing platforms have a wide range of modules that can be integrated. So let's take a look at some of them at a high level. So first of all, I want to be able to create separate work areas. This helps me to have all the information I need in one place, but I can also send a link to this page to my customer, creating a personalized landing page.
Chris, this is John. I know, sorry, I should have mentioned to people that they can ask questions online. and obviously
Sure.
following the webinar. But just as we go through to help people who are perhaps listening to a recording, let me play the role of a salesperson or a sales manager in this instance. So what you're effectively saying is that for every member of the sales team, I can effectively have my own custom pages, my own personal landing page, if you like, with the sorts of assets and tools that I'd like to use appearing on that landing page.
That's right, John. So in one of my examples here, and I can add many pages. I might have many customers that I want to connect with, and I've added some digital assets here already. So I've added some videos here. You can see I've added in my social channels. I've added in my email and my telephone number. I've also added things like brochure downloads, PDFs, and I can add things like interactive charts and graphs, infographics, and stuff that really helps to really reinforce what I'm trying to say, the point I'm trying to get across. I can also leave personalized messages for the customer and actually engage with the customer online in the form of comments. So it's a two-way conversation online directly on the page. I can also add links to perhaps product demonstrations or other assets that I may like the client to see.
Okay, I get it. That looks good. And of course, there can be a version for the marketing team as well, and different versions for different types of sales teams, if you're field-based, inside sales teams, geographical, yeah?
Of course, so the idea again is to create bespoke, customized pages that suit the purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's start to look at how we can gather some information for these pages. So here's an area where I want to start adding some videos and collecting videos to actually help me add to those pages. So this helps me organize things into categories. I can create playlists all ready to add to that landing page or personalized page for my customer.
So if I'm a sales guy, then I could put any type of video in there. It might be an internal training video, it might be a case study, it could be a canned demo, yeah?
Yep, it could be anything. So this really is a library that we can add videos and resources and other media to help us add to various pages.
What if I wanted to personalize it, add a message? Would I need, special equipment? How could I do that rather than just sending out, a standard corporate video?
Yep, great you asked, John. So here's another page where I can actually record my very own personal message to a customer, and that can be recorded straight off my webcam. I can also add some interactive elements, perhaps links to other resources, websites, other videos, and again I can create a playlist. And again this can be embedded or added to my personalized pages.
Cool, okay, that's really good.
So again, moving on in the direction of content creation, platforms have some tools. So here we see an example of a digital whiteboard that I can create using icons and text boxes and drawings and import images if I want to. And again, this can be saved down in my library for use on one or more of my landing pages.
Okay, Chris, I think that's a good point. I mean, I know a number of people have said they're not particularly familiar with digital sales tools and techniques, and I know that we've got a much more deep dive session later in the series. But for example, as I understand, or we've seen digital whiteboards being used, they can be used throughout the sales cycle, from initial qualifying meetings right through to the presentation of proposals and quotations, yeah? And I think you've got some other tools there as well, yeah?
Yeah, so again, there's other assets here we can use. So we can create some mind maps, we can create some interactive PDFs, forms, demonstrations. So there's lots of tools that we can add to a platform to really help with my sales process.
And just to share with people, some of these tools are kind of readily available from a variety of different SaaS and app developers, so we could really integrate whatever tool set is most appropriate for a particular sales team.
Yes, integrating things and plugins into a platform isn't generally an issue.
Good, okay. Thank you.
Okay, so the other thing I may want to do is generally just keep track of my customers, contact details, make sure they're up to date, and create groups or email lists. So this could be a link to your existing CRM system, or plugged into, there's many systems out there, Zoho, Marketo, or we can have a module plugged in directly on the platform to help you do that.
Okay, so again, we could put custom pages up there, things like account plans, or as you said, any of the leading CRM systems, yeah?
Yeah, that's it. Okay, so there's other things available on the platform, and as I said, very modular, so there's lots of different goodies and toys that we can add into these platforms to suit the purpose. But really that's the structure of digital sales platform. So let's just look at some of the other things that we can add into that. So let's take a look at some interactive video. So I'm not going to play a video, I just want to highlight some of the things that we can actually add into video to make it more engaging for our customers. So one of the things I can add is interactive menus. Interactive menus of video are great because it enables us to link to other videos, to view product information, or to book demos, and really a way to have lots of content available within one space and within a short space of time. We can also embed content like interactive online apps or links to other websites. Related resources like videos, PDF and brochure downloads. Interactive video is a great way to demonstrate products, so we can actually get the user to engage and click on things and move around the video as if they was using the software in real time and help train. We can embed things like surveys and questionnaires, or contact forms and call to actions into the interactive video.
Good. Chris, just whilst you're moving on, I know we had a discussion before. I know something that won't be very popular in sales platforms are things like time trackers, but joking aside about how good the salespeople are about doing timing, I think project planning is possible. That people may get engaged with customer project plans.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do have the ability to track my time and produce reports. I also have the ability to plan my projects and collaborate easily with other people, other members of the team, create notes, comments, set landmarks, and actions. So again, the system is very modular. We can add lots and lots of good things into digital sales platforms. So here we have an example of a customer engagement app, which is very similar to interactive video, where we can use an app to actually embed video and a whole range of media and resources. I'll just skip through these bits. So again, we can have interactive menus, and we can help guide the decision process, provide product information for customers in a very user-friendly, very engaging way without people having to scroll around websites and try and search for information. Again, showing examples of products. And again, we can have call to actions or embedded contact forms and lots of digital assets to be readily embedded in there.
Okay, so we're seeing really we've got a variety of different media that we can use, customer engagement apps and or interactive video, and or the videos we looked at earlier can be customized and edited. So we've got quite a flexible array of video-based tools to support every aspect of sales and marketing is the summary, I guess.
Yeah, so lots of modules can be added into these. Again, interactive surveys, interactive things, all in one place, and it's very easy for the customer to navigate around in an engaging way. And engagement really is the key. It's what's made websites so popular in the beginning that people really can get engaged and find information for themselves quickly and easily.
Cool.
So the last example I want to give is an example of an online app. And again, this was converted from a spreadsheet. So if you have spreadsheets with calculations or input boxes, this can easily be converted into a user-friendly online app that can be used in real time. So let's have a look at some of the features and functions. Again, so we've got nice user navigation here. We can easily navigate around what would be a 5, 6, 7, 8-page spreadsheet or lots of scrolling. We've got input boxes here. We've got real-time calculations. If I just update some of these. And again, we can see lifetime contract values in this case. And again, if I change some of the numbers here, it all acts in real time.
Okay, I kind of get that. I guess what we're seeing, Chris, is that, again, a variety of online apps can replace what may have been done on whiteboards or in spreadsheets,
or
for pricing, you know, for pricing, for proposals, for ROI calculations, increasingly in SaaS and cloud solutions, total cost of ownership, lifetime contract value, anything that previously could have been done on those old-fashioned analog media, you can now do online, on your phone, on a tablet, with a customer interactively, yeah?
Absolutely, and again, these can be embedded directly into a personalized or customized landing page for both yourself as a salesperson, or to send out as a link to your customer and engage online.
Okay, no, that's great, and I think the comment I made earlier that these sorts of tools, indeed the whole digital sales platform, is equally valid whether you've got a field-based sales team, an inside sales-based team, or you're engaging and enabling partners. And again, you know, language and translation is not an issue, right?
Correct. Yeah, absolutely great.
Okay. Chris, that's been a great whirlwind tour. I know we've covered an awful lot there, but I think it's given us a really good flavour of what is a digital sales platform, how you can put in a vast array of different tools and techniques, and how they can be customized for different types of sales teams. What I thought might be...
and we'll make these assets available online, John, as well. Just worth mentioning that we'll put these on a landing page of our own, so people can visit at their own leisure and find out more information.
Great. Yeah, okay, that's good. I know we went through that very quickly, but if people have a chance to do their own tour, we've got to practice what we preach. You know, that's the whole idea of being able to interact with some of these assets and see how they work for yourselves. What I did want to do now is just come up with some typical examples of how you could start. So we put together 3 or 4 different scenarios. So we talked about, one of the titles of this series was Death to PowerPoint by Salespeople. And what we're showing, for example, here as a starter pack, you could convert, say, 50-slide PowerPoint sales presentation into a 5-minute interactive video, similar to the ones that Chris showed. And you know, a starting price for that could be around about £1,000 a year, online, including your hosting. We would just look very quickly at converting some spreadsheet tools for pricing, for ROI, proposals, whatever it might be. So again, a typical price to convert a 50-row spreadsheet into an interactive online app could be from around about £1,000, and that will give you a year hosting as well. Similarly, we're seeing a lot of websites today that are sales and marketing websites, yes indeed, but they really haven't got a strong e-store presence. And again, there's no reason why you can't very quickly provide some simple services even on there. You know, even it's simple things like training, if you've got large enterprise apps that you can't today provide in the cloud, or you haven't got a subscription model. So it could be training, it could be support. Again, there's no reason why you can't get an existing website with an e-store on the back end into market very quickly for a very low cost. And the final example, just to make it real, was the customer engagement app that Chris was showing you at the end, where you can put together a variety of assets, either in interactive video or into a customer engagement app, and you could start with something relatively simple for as low as £1,000. And you know, these sorts of deliverables can be literally developed and delivered within a month. So back to the initial message, it doesn't have to be part of a massive strategic approach and take a lot of time. The whole advantage of digital sales techniques and tools is you can get them into market and get them used very quickly. So thank you for today. So we wanted to give you a very rapid tour. As Chris has mentioned, we're going to send you a personalized landing page and the ability to look at some of these techniques and tools in more depth. We will be also sending you details of those starter packs if they're of interest. You know, we pitch them at a level you can literally put them on a credit card, and I think it's always important to suck it and see and see how your sales and marketing teams can engage with these new tools and techniques. And until next time, as they say, which is only a week away, where we've got literally hot off the press the latest sales and marketing metrics from the 8th financial handbook presented by Rick Chapman. So if you've got any further questions, please do contact us. If not, thank you for your time, and we'll also send you a copy of this recording. So thank you again, and goodbye.